If you only knew the power of the dark side, it is your destiny.
Hello everyone, this is Tate the Gate. It is August 14th, 2014, and there have been a lot of things going on in the media that I haven't reported on that are happening nationally as well as in the world. And I just wanted to cover one of the things right now that may not be of interest to some of the people. And this is a court case out of Connecticut, and it's written by Tim Cushing of Tech Dirt. The Connecticut Supreme Court says state cops can detain you for simply being in the vicinity of someone they're arresting. So, in reading these decisions, I decided to come up with various scenarios that were described in this decision. So I'm just going to read you parts of this article. The court's decision basically makes everyone a suspect, even if they're suspected of nothing else than being in the relative proximity of someone a police officer suspects of committing a crime, or someone simply matching the description. How does this work in practice? Gideon posits a single scenario as interpreted by the person being wrongly detained and those being and doing the actual detaining. Imagine you are walking down a public street with your friend. You're on your way to the local grocery store to buy some hummus. Police pull up, take a look at you and your friend, and mistakenly believe that he's a notorious wanted criminal. They order him to stop, but you're not wanting to be caught up in this police business. Keep walking, but they order you to stop, even though they know you don't suspect you and you haven't done anything wrong. You have rights, damn it, and you know the Fourth Amendment, and they can stop and force you to give up your freedom. The second is this. What I've just described above is a version of the events that transpire. They're just facts in the sense that they're your recitation of the events. But that's obviously not good enough, right? There's another version, that of the police officers. So who gets to decide which is the truth, which is believable and accurate and should be relied upon? Because, and this is critical, the law is entirely fact dependent. How the law applies depends on the nuances of the factual scenarios. And that is entirely left up to the trial judge, the judge that hears evidence from you and the police officers and then decides what actually happened. That's called fact-finding and can only be overturned if clearly erroneous, meaning almost never. There is a deference paid to the trial court's findings of fact. So this becomes a de facto your word against theirs. Now the court has even placed more confidence in theirs. Your version is that you just happen to be in the vicinity of someone the police are expressing interest in. Their version is that anyone within eyesight is probably either A, an accomplice, B, a threat, and it gets worse. The police can be completely wrong and still be covered by this ruling. So this is the problem with this ruling, and I'm going to read you some of the descriptions here. So just being near somebody is grounds for them being able to arrest or detain you. So a ruling eliminates a reasonable articulable suspicion for having committed or be about to commit a crime. The ruling also upholds facts found that may lead to a crime outside the scope of discovery or a warrant for a crime. This ruling also allows that suspicion not even added into the scope of racial profiling, stop and frisk, and those of anonymous informants that give out tips. So this ruling also extends to all persons who would be living in or coming out of an apartment complex. So that if you were walking out and the police are stopping somebody in Connecticut, you can then be swept up in their dragnet as well as everybody else inside the apartment complex and arrested or detained without probable cause, articulable suspicion of having to commit or be about to commit a crime. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of this also. So when the bodies of Connecticut high school and college age athletes start to stink up this SCOTUS ruling of the state of Connecticut, that the legislature will rewrite or pass a more or less stringent draconian law that will prevent this kind of police abuse. So let's say, for instance, the police decide to pull up on you at a bus stop. They could theoretically stop and detain everybody there and arrest them on anything that they find through a fishing expedition. So the cops pull up and everyone disperses and scatters. The cops pull out guns and start shooting the fleeing suspects. There's the start of your urban death squads, people. So if you have a protest, for instance, and you're protesting something, and the police decide to put an agent provocateur or an undercover cop inside your group of protesters to throw a bottle, the protest is ended and everyone is either shot or arrested. Now, let's make no mistake, if this was a state that had a wiretapping law overturned by the Supreme Court, I could see that possibly being a case for the Supreme Court to take up as an issue, because this is a way to circumvent the First Amendment rights of people holding accountability to police and various politicians in the state of Connecticut. This is on the other side, could also be used to protect police, which is part of what Tim Cushing's article states, is that this was pushed forward as a way to protect police officers. But please tell me how this can protect police officers when you and some anonymous friends could be riding in a car together going someplace, and somebody stashes drugs in the car, the police pull the car over and they find drugs in the car, and no one confesses, but that drug applies to all of you, and all of you equally with the same sentencing. And tell me how, if, for instance, you're in a store and you're walking out of the store or into the store, and somebody walks into the store and the store has a police officer, a security guard, and the store's theft detection device goes off. The police officer pounces. So is that a crime then, where you can be detained and arrested for having been in the vicinity, or just merely in the vicinity recording police in the course of their duty in public? So I think this is a very bad ruling, and I think that people need to wake up and start calling their senators and legislatures in Connecticut. This is Take the Gate. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Signing out.